Good morning, Heidi. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning. We're getting a little bit of feedback on your microphone. Do you have some background noise, or do you have? It might be a microphone sensitivity issue. Just go ahead and tell me. Just tell me how your day's going so far. Let me hear you. Let me hear you, Mike.
It's going good. It's a little cold here, but it's nice.
Your
Use
microphone
my phone?
sensitivity. Are you on your phone for your
No, I'm
audio?
on the computer.
Okay, so it might be the microphone sensitivity is up just a little too high. Um, so you might go to. Let's see here. If you go to on the left-hand side, under the bottom left-hand side of your screen, there's an up arrow next to the mute button. Click on that. They'll give you audio options.
Okay.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And see if does it give you the ability to dial down your audio a little bit.
No, let's see.
Hold on. Let me see if there's another spot to do this. You know what? It does not give you the ability to do that.
Do you want me to use my phone?
Oh, here you go. No, you can. If you go to, okay, see where it says, if you open up that audio box again and you see where it says leave computer audio, and then underneath that it says test computers, mic, and speakers.
Yeah.
Click on that test button. And then you'll see where it says microphone.
Okay, are you there?
Yep. I can hear you. Okay. So now do you see where it says, are you under where it says test computer audio?
I did that when I first came on. So if I go to, yes.
There you go. Now just dial that microphone volume down a little bit and uncheck the box that says automatically adjust microphone.
Okay.
Let's see if you can adjust that downwards a little bit.
Is that better?
Yeah, a little bit. Sounds like it's a little bit better. We'll just have to, what's that?
Could it be because I have the window up?
Maybe. It could also be you're also getting a little bit of lag. It might be your internet connection. So you know what? Go ahead and recheck that box. Let's go ahead and close your window there. You're talking about your physical window there, right? The window looking outside. Yeah, go ahead and close that window and let's check that box again to leave it to automatic adjust microphone.
Okay, does that sound any better?
Still a little bit echoey, but you know what? The echo is just your room. It's just the room you're in. You've got a square room with a lot of hard walls and probably not a lot of stuff in your walls, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's gonna be a big part of it. So go ahead and just leave your microphone on auto, and we'll just see how it goes. We should be all right. It's just a little bit hot, but that's all right. And Brian should be here in a little bit. We will be getting started here in about 6 minutes. So no pressure. We normally only get, in terms of views, depends on how great we do, but we normally get somewhere between, call it 6,000 to 29,000 people watch. So it's really not a lot. So don't feel too much pressure there. So.
I like that. I mean, I like the topic.
What is the topic? Let's talk about that.
Team retention.
Team retention. Ooh, I like the topic too. Okay, so hold on. Let me. All right, hold on 1 second.
Hi, Brian.
All right, so we got team retention. How to create a dynamic, correct me if I say anything you don't love, dynamic culture of winners that
Michael, I have no sound.
love. You can't hear us, or you can't hear yourself? We can hear you. We can hear you. Are you there? Can you hear us, Brian? So Brian's not able to hear us right now. Hopefully he will be soon. We can hear you, Brian. Can you hear us, Brian? No? Can't hear us? We can hear you, Brian. We can hear. Heidi, say something. See if Brian can hear you.
Well, I said good morning before and he waved. I don't think he can hear me.
No, he can't.
No.
He's not hearing you. So log out, log back in potentially. All right, hang on one second. Let me get this typed in here. So, team retention, how to create a dynamic culture of winners that love the team and stay long term. You like that?
Yeah.
All right, so I'm getting ready to go live. I'm ready. We're 4 minutes away before we ought to be worried about we got to go live. But Brian still can't hear us. It's an age thing, man. Maybe you're just getting old, bro.
Did he just log out?
I hear the hearing is the first thing to go. Just kidding. What's that? I didn't say. What'd you say? I didn't hear you. I'm just kidding. Can you hear us now? Can you hear us now? Brian Curtis. Brian Curtis. He's so funny. He's gonna get his headset on.
How are you feeling?
I'm still sick. I'm getting better. I thank you for asking. I'm definitely getting better. But dude, it's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
It's been hardcore. This has been a tough. Dude, you guys are both wearing pink shirts. I didn't get the memo on the pink shirt day.
Me neither. I just picked one. It was the one I wore the last.
Dude, we can hear you now. That's good.
Yeah.
Or you can hear us now.
Yeah, it helps when you plug your speaker in.
Ah, there you go. There you go. You know what I've heard, though, is that the hearing is the first thing to go. So maybe it's just an old age thing.
I think it's the brain, actually. So. All right. What do we figure we're going to talk about today?
All right. So we are T-minus 3 minutes and counting. And I told Heidi not to worry because, you know, the last one we did with Rachel only had 29,000 views. And so
no big deal.
Chances are nobody's going to watch this, so don't worry about it. That being said, Heidi, what are if you could say, here's 5 or 6 bullet points that I really want to cover, what are they?
Well, because I think I have great retention on my team, and I think it's because of the culture of my team, you know, how I treat people, the things I offer, the fairness. I don't know, it kind of just goes along with the things I do for them because they're good to me.
Okay, so hang on, I got to get something to write with or write on. Hold on. All right. I'm just getting something to write on so I can take notes.
Okay.
So basically, this is pretty simple. The format we do these on is pretty straightforward. Brian and I are going to interview. So I'm going to start off. I'll probably say, you know, I'll greet everybody. I'll say, you know, I'll mention our sponsor. Wise Hire is our sponsor. We all love Wise Hire. We wouldn't let them be the sponsor if we didn't. So if you have, you know, are you using them, by the way?
I have.
Okay. Do you like them?
Okay.
Okay. Brian and I will do the talking about them then. So we love them. I love them.
Michael loves them. I play nice.
We have a lot of people that do well with them.
Yes.
And so that being said, I'll mention a few words about the sponsor. I'll introduce you guys. So Heidi, 2017 GCI, what was it?
About 40. Oh, my GCI. Oh my God. You really want to know that?
Yep.
Well, I don't know.
Ballpark.
What was your volume?
Your total.
About 42 million.
1.2.
1.2 million in gross commission income. Does that sound about right? Does that sound about right, Heidi?
Yeah, I guess. That's
okay. How many
40 times 3 is 1.2.
177 transactions. My average price is like $237.
Yeah.
Where are you at? What market?
Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay, good. I'm ready to go. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Right on. Let's do this. All right. And really the big goal here, Heidi, the only goal is just bring massive value to people. Just give them good stuff, right? Just share it all, good, bad, ugly. We just want to be real with people on these.
Okay.
All right, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and go live. Good morning, everybody. Michael Hellickson here with Club Wealth. I'm so excited. We are on Club Wealth TV today, and we've got our very special guest, Miss Heidi Hines. And let me tell you something, Heidi is no freaking joke. This is a woman who last year with her team did 177 units for $42 million in volume, or $1.2 million in gross commission income. She's been around a while in Charlotte, North Carolina, knows what she's doing, and has awesome retention on her team. So we're going to be talking today on Club Wealth TV with Heidi. Of course, you guys know my co-host, Brian Curtis. Brian is a freaking rock star in Bentonville, Arkansas, which I love teasing him about Bentonville, but I'll spare him the antics today. No.
Why be different?
I always joke around. I always say he doesn't think it's very funny, but I used to call him the king of real estate because it's Bentonville, man. I mean, they're not like $1 million homes there, right? So
I just thought he had a lisp. I didn't understand.
That's funny. So Brian literally is doing, he did over 330 transactions last year in Bentonville, Arkansas. That's a lot of transactions. What's really cool is Brian's essentially out of production, right? So he can choose whether or not he goes on appointments or not. And that's saying something. It's pretty cool. And he's now starting expansion teams all over through Club Wealth Expansion Services. Brian's awesome. So Brian, thank you for being here with us as well. And by the way, I see we've got, I'm watching the Facebook feed right now. I see we got Jeff Russell. We got Dorothy. Shout out to Rachel. Hope. Coach Amy Izzo is watching. So super stoked to have you guys on and watching. Thank you for being here. For those of you that don't know already, my name is Michael Hellickson. I'm one of the coaches here at Club Wealth. And Club Wealth, of course, as you know, is a coaching company. We're not here today to sell you coaching. We're here today to bring you massive value. But so that you know, we do coach. We're actually the #1 coaching company in the team space in real estate, which is pretty exciting. And we're actually about 5 times bigger than our next closest competitor, if you will. I don't know if I'd even call them that, but very excited about all the growth that we're seeing with everybody in Club Wealth. Melissa Forsyth just joined us. Welcome, Melissa. Now, for those of you that have questions, you can type them directly into the Facebook feed where you're watching this. I'm following the feed on our Club Wealth page, it's Michael Hellickson's Club Wealth Coaching and Consulting page. I will also follow this conversation in the group, and we'll answer questions, and we'll ask your questions live of Heidi and of Brian as we go. Last thing I want to say before we get started is shout out to our sponsor, Wise Hire, which is one of the companies that we use a lot, and we've had a lot of clients in Club Wealth that are having great success with them. They help us out with running ads and recruiting and putting 3 people through the DISC profile so we can kind of assess where they are from a personality standpoint and how they'll fit into our teams. So that being said, with no further ado, I want to shout out to Heidi, and I want to welcome you for your first Club Wealth TV. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
We're stoked too. So tell us about your team real quick. So you've got a big team, well, I should say, I'm not going to say big. You've got a team in Charlotte, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. How many people are on your team, and what is it you think is special about your team?
Well, I have, including myself, we're 5 agents. And I think the special thing about my team is that I have team members that have been with me almost 20 years, 16 years. I had a closing coordinator. She was with me 17 years. She's been gone for about a year, but she just called me back this morning. She was bored. So I think people come to my team and they stay. I've had people stay 3-4 years. They leave, they go off on their own. But I think it's special because we're a family here. We do things a little bit different.
Okay, so all in all, how many people on the team, all total?
With admin and everything? Mm-hmm. 9.
Okay, so you got 9 people on your team. I'm just taking notes, by the way.
Right.
As you guys can see, I'm writing down notes so I can come back to some of this stuff. So 9 people on your team. You know, our topic today, for those of you that don't know, our topic today is team retention and how to create a dynamic culture of winners that love the team and stay long term. And let me tell you, turnover is expensive. First of all, recruiting is hard, right? Getting the right people on your team is hard, and then keeping the right people on your team is even harder. And so I want to start with both you and with Brian on talk to us about recruiting. How are you finding the people that are now on your team, whether it be admin or real estate agents?
Well, the agents that I have on my team, one of them I recruited from an on-site sales office. He worked for new construction. And this was years ago. And I knew that he is, he's gone through rigorous training with the builder. And so I recruited him away. I put it to him like, you're sitting in that model home. You can only sell one product. Come to work with me and you can sell all the products. You can go every neighborhood. It doesn't matter who the builder is. And then all the support and everything that I offered him and taught him about general brokerage. So that was the first one. And so other agents that I've gotten, it's been through word of mouth, or like I have one of my lenders I recruited to be an agent. And then my admin people, it's through word of mouth. Or if I'm on a deal and I have somebody else on the other side that's good, I ask them, are you happy? Do you like where you're at? You want to make a change?
Okay, so Brian, you do the same thing. This is one of the things, and I know there's people watching this right now that are kind of freaking out saying, well, I got to work really hard to recruit people to my team. And I hear Brian all the time. He's like, well, recruiting's easy, man. I just say, okay, and a bunch of people show up and want to be on my team. So Brian, I need you to talk to that for a minute too.
Well, and here's the thing, and by the way, Heidi has a great culture, and I'm going to hopefully dig into some of that a little bit as we go into this call. But, it's interesting when you bring tons of value, people want to be around you. And, I see a lot of people recruit the wrong people, even if those people are good real estate agents. And what I mean by that is I see a lot of people bring people on their team who don't fit in their culture. They bring people on their team who they don't want to show up for the meetings. We've had people on our team that did that. They don't want to show up for the meetings. And every time you bring up an idea, they're like, well, no, that doesn't work for me. Well, great. So maybe you need to leave our team. But nowadays we try and get that on the front end. And really what happens is our agents are recruiting for us now. Mm-hmm. And, you have a great experience working with our transaction coordinator and one of our listing agents or one of our buyer's agents, and we start to have that conversation. And I love that Heidi said that she goes after the people she has good deals with, because here's the thing, you do a real estate transaction with somebody, you get a pretty good feel for how they are as a person, because it gets stressful, there's problems, all that kind of stuff. So, and I feel like when we provide them ultimate service back. And here's something that, and you and I have talked about this before, Michael, I'll call you out. You said maybe one of the things that you would go back and do is be nicer to other agents.
Oh, absolutely.
And I feel like that's one of the things that we're doing. And I feel that Heidi does the same thing. And, I have conversations with my agents all the time. You don't want to hear the conversation after I hang up the phone, because it's always not nice. But on the phone, those are really nice conversations. And, it's funny. We have to sell to every single person we talk to, whether that's a lender, whether that's a title company, whether that's another agent they're doing a transaction with. It's constantly, and what is selling to me? Selling is creating great communication between two people so we can both get to our end goal. And that's what I look at it as. And, we do that. People are like, man, it's great to do a transaction with you. You didn't hear me curse 17 times after I hung up the phone, but, they don't feel that. And I feel like that's one of the things that really allows us to get people. They're like, I like your culture. I like being around you. And, that helps. And, people like being around people they're like. So that's for us where we're at.
One thing I started doing, because Brian is my coach, I came up with a campaign, and I got the production of agents in my area, and I did a campaign. It was a drip campaign with emails and text messages. And it goes on for about 9 days, and they start responding to me. I'm telling them a little bit about my team. Would they like to, have a conversation? So I meet with a lot of agents, but I don't hire all of them. And it's funny because a lot of them say to me, okay, well, I'll let you know. And I'm thinking, let me know what? I didn't even ask you, So but it takes a lot because I want to find the right person, because my team has been together for about 20 years. And so when someone comes here, their family, they have to almost be accepted. They have to show that they're serious about what they're doing, that this is a career and not, a gig, because my team is kind of territorial.
Would you mind talking about some of the questions that you ask people? Because I think, everyone, oh, you want to make this amount of money, you want to do this, you want to do, but what are the questions that you're asking those people to see how they fit into the culture?
I want to know about them, not just about their business, because really I'm going after agents that do less than 8 transactions a year.
Okay.
That's who I'm kind of targeting. I'm asking them, how much money do they want or need to make? Not, I don't want to hear you need $100,000. What do you need to live off of? Let's see if it's even realistic. I ask them what they do for fun, because I want to know, do we have something in common? And my team is a little bit crazy. I ask them, are you okay with colorful language every now and then? Because if they're offended, they might not want to be around, because sometimes, like you said, you hang up the phone and you just, you vent a little bit. That's reality. So I ask them about if they're a team player, do they have experience with any sports or any kind of other teams? And I want to know what they think they can do for me.
I love the "Are you okay with swearing" thing. It's like that's. I
didn't say swearing. I said colorful language.
Oh, it's like colorful language. Okay, so I think you must have taken that directly out of the Gary Vee playbook. I don't know. I'm sure he does that when he interviews people, or at least he should. But it's interesting because the reality is your culture is going to be different than Brian's, and it's going to be different than my culture in our office, right? And you're absolutely right about that. Like at my office, we're not okay with colorful language. Like if you're cursing in my office, you're hitting the bricks, pal. Like that's not how we roll. And that, not to say that that's the right way to do it or the wrong way to do it. It's just different, right? And that's okay. And it's funny, we were just having this culture conversation I was having this conversation with Natasha today, one of the folks on our team, and we were talking about how culture isn't something that the team leader gets to necessarily define or enforce or create or whatever. Culture happens as a result. It's the cumulative result of the people that you have on your team, right? So it's all of these personalities together into this pot, and that becomes your culture. So you got to be really protective about who those personalities are, and are they going to fit the team, right? And sometimes, like we just had somebody leave our team, and I tell you what, we're scratching our head. We're like, God, why did she leave? I don't think it was money, but I'll tell you what I do think it is. I think that she just wasn't in culture with us. I think, and it seemed like she was on the surface, but I think deep down, I think that was her trying to be in culture and realizing that maybe she's not, right?
Well, Michael, I think that your culture is something that, you don't start your team and go, okay, this is going to be my culture. I think it's something that is a reflection on the person, because when I started my team, I didn't really know even how I was going to be in business or with a team or what I was going to expect from them. But as it began to grow, it just became kind of naturally, like I always addressed the elephant in the room. Everybody learned to trust each other. There were no secrets, and I just made sure that people felt good. I didn't want people not to want to come to work.
Yeah. Don't give them a reason not to come to work. That's a good one. I like that. So Dorothy mentions, I'm reading through some of the comments in the Facebook feed here. Dorothy Pastorelli, by the way, thank you for watching and joining us today. Says, always build solid relationships with other agents. It's important in deals as well as prospective team members. And you're right. You never know who the prospective team members are going to be. Today, they might not be, but 5 years from now, they might be. Right?
So never burn a bridge.
And that's right. Because not even if they, go ahead.
I owned my own brokerage for a while, and when I did, I hired my old broker in charge to come as an agent. And do you know something? I apologized to her when I hired her. I said, I apologize to you for the way I behaved when my ego was so big and all you had to put up with. I didn't know that until I was recruiting agents to my firm. I'd sit there and listen to them talk about how great they were and what they wanted. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. And so I really apologized to her.
That's awesome.
Good for you.
Yeah, humility, it's amazing. So, I've talked to lots of people in the last 45 days who were absolutely killing it 6 months ago and are having struggles today.
Mhm.
And I've been through that. Michael's been through that. Heidi, you and I haven't really talked about it. You've probably been through it. And, the humility is so important because, when you're making money hand over fist and everything's perfect, you don't need anybody else. But guess what? That's going to do it. And eventually you're going to need people. And I love the fact that you have gotten that. And I don't know what, you got it before you and I started working together. So I'm not sure what point in your career you got it, but you do have that. It's you understand that, yes, you can go out and be a solo agent and do okay. And that's fine. But, neither one of us are 25 anymore. And that's a lot harder than it was, when we were 25 years old and I could go 150 hours a week and it was no big deal. And I just worked 17, 20 hours a day, no big deal. But, we don't want that anymore. And that's not what we're going for anymore. So if we are going to create a life worth living, we have to do it with other people. And those people are really our keys. I've been listening to a lot of Simon Sinek lately. I don't know if anybody listens to him. But, he starts with the outside in. What are we trying to do? And are we focused on this result of selling houses? Or are we focused on having a great culture of a great group of people who serve our clients? And if we do that, the rest of it will take care of itself. And I kind of feel like you do that. So I'm going to ask you another question. So, because we're kind of on this thing, what other things are you doing for culture? Do you do team outings? Do you, what type of things do you do for that?
I do team outings. I haven't done this recently, but like when everyone met their goals, I took everyone on my team and their spouse on a cruise because I felt it was important to know like the husbands or the wives or whoever, because the people were spending so much time at work, we needed to know their families. So it was fun. We did that. But right now I do, like I've taken them to one of those lockup rooms, we try to get out. We didn't get out. And then scavenger hunt. We just did this and it was fun. Everybody came to the office. They had no idea what was going on. We gave them a list. We said, you have to go do this. But how I'm going to know you're doing this is when you get there, take pictures, post it on social media. And
nice.
So our team manager, Michaela, was in the office and she was checking everything. And, and so we had a winner, but we did have a tiebreaker. So scavenger hunt, dinners, I do awards within my team. And I do fun things. I want to recognize people. I have a guy on my team. He kind of struggled to get his real estate license. He had personal issues and he had to go through a lot for the commission to say, okay, you can have your license. He had a great year his first year. And, he wasn't really recognized because he's within a team. And so at our first team meeting in January, we gave him a Rookie of the Year plaque and all this kind of stuff. So I think it's important to recognize people. And I do that with my team. Even with my guy that's been here the longest, who outdoes everybody, I still recognized him for things. And that's important. Michael, you sent me that book called 5 Dysfunctions of a Team when I started coaching. And I read that. And in the book, I could identify people on my team or people that had come and gone. But one thing that really hit home was the reason I think my team works so well is because everybody on my team trusts each other enough that if we're together and they have a problem, that somebody will, I hate the phrase call somebody out, but they'll say what's on their mind, not feeling threatened that it's going to cause a problem. I remember around Thanksgiving time, one of my team members was so stressed out. He had company at his house and, a lot was going on. And we were on a conference call, 3 team members. And one of the team members got upset and he hung up. And I told the other team member, I said, you know what, give him about 20 minutes. He's going to cool off and call us back and apologize. And he did, because that's how my family is. So that book, if you have a team or you think about starting a team, I would definitely read that book.
5 Dysfunctions of a Team by Patrick Lencioni. It's a great book. And there's a couple of things you just mentioned that I want to key in on. Number one, I've heard you say it twice now, and it's super important. You know what I'm talking about, right, Brian? She said, on my team, we're a family, right? And you guys, look, think about the number of hours you spend with your team versus the number of hours you spend with your actual family. Believe it or not, we spend more hours at work than we do with our actual family. So you know what? I want to be working with people that I want to work with, right? I want to be around the people that I want to be around all day long. And if we're not a family, we have a problem, right? We need to be a family. You need to get your team to that level where everybody feels like we're a family. We're in this together. We're helping each other out. That's a big piece of it. The positive conflict, that's another piece. essentially that's what you were talking about. You were saying that, you know, we have conflict. It's not all roses and peaches and cream all the time, right? And there are times we get a little bit combative. You know what? I get it. That's all right. As long as everybody understands afterwards that we're still family and that we still take care of each other. And the other thing that, and Brian, you mentioned this, and you guys, I hope everybody that's watching this is paying very close attention to this right now. The single most important word, I believe, in creating the culture that's going to see you through the tough times is humility. If you aren't humble, if you, and this is, it's easy. People, when we have success, it's human nature to get a big head, right? It's human nature to get kind of puffed up and, you know, look how great I am and my team and my this and yada. Look, it ain't your team, pal. I got news for you. It's the team.
Without them, you're nothing.
That's exactly right. And you guys, I know you two get that. And I know, like, we've got Sandy and David Stites are watching right now. And Sandy says, by the way, that she has a little colorful language occasionally as well. And shout out to Coach David and Sandy. Absolutely love you guys. But I know that you guys are very humble and you have maintained a high level of humility as you have grown. And it's hard to do that. We have to remember who gets us here and we have to give them all the credit. Here's the way I look at it. Give them all the credit for the success, and I take all the responsibility for the failures. And as we do that, and really, let's call it what it is. If we have failures on the team, it is my responsibility, right? Even if I'm not the one that caused it, it's probably my responsibility because I didn't train properly, or I didn't hire properly, or I didn't support properly, or I didn't, you know, do something that I could have done to help prevent that. Now, I also have to be careful as a team leader not to take too much of that burden on my shoulders. Outwardly, I have to take that responsibility. But mentally, I have to not let that drag me down when we have failures. And so that also is a part of your culture. So what I'd like you to talk to now, because retention, I mean, let's call it, you guys agree, right? That people don't leave your team because of money. They leave your team because of culture, right? And so talk to me about, how does this dynamic of responsibility and humility impact culture from the top down?
Me or Brian?
Either one of you.
Well, I think that, you know, for years, and I've told you both this, I was on kind of autopilot for a little bit because my team was pretty smooth. And so I just kind of relaxed a little bit. And my production went down some. I mean, it's still pretty good. And so I told my team, I said, it's because of me. I'm sorry. So this year, you know, I've hired Club Wealth. Brian's my coach again. And, you know, I'm reapplying myself. And so I'm starting to see changes within my team. And so I told my team that I'm trying to do better and I'm going to do better and we're going to get back on track. And so they appreciate it that I'm not looking at them saying, how come you're not producing, when it comes from the top down? You know, I've got to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Everybody's got to be doing what they're doing. I have to do my job.
But I love what you said, because you're not saying, hey, it's all your guys' fault. And what you said is, hey, look, I went out and I got help. I got coaching, right? I went out and hired Club Wealth, hired Brian as my coach so that now I can be better at what I do. And let me tell you something. I really do believe that just even that simple act of being coached shows humility, right? It says outwardly and inwardly that, hey, look, I don't have all the answers. And you know, and nobody has all the answers. And I'm going to go out and I'm going to seek help to get more of the answers I need to help our team succeed at a higher level. You know, they need to see that. I think that's super important. All right, Brian, anything to add to that?
Yeah, and so, you know, I want to reiterate a couple things that you said is, you know, leadership, and again, I'm quoting Simon Sinek. He's just my guy of the week. I've been listening to a lot of his stuff, but, you know, he says it's hard because it's kind of unrewarding. And, you know, I see Heidi doing that too. You know, it's funny. There are people who go out there and go, my team did $50 million last year and I, but, you know, it's we. And I hear that from Heidi, and you know, that's one of our big culture things. I know that I can't do it all by myself, and it is about, you know, I believe in 100% responsibility. That's one of my personal things. You know, why the team fell? I don't know. It's 100% my fault, and I'm going to figure out why. You know, maybe that's because I have the wrong person on the team. Maybe that's because I didn't get lead sources. Maybe because I didn't train them enough. Maybe because I didn't motivate them enough. I don't know what it is, but I'm 100% sure that the only person who's responsible for that is me. That's when we fail. And when I succeed, 100% of the responsibility has to go to the people who are on our team. And so basically what you're saying is I get all the bad and none of the good. And that can be a pain. I mean, it's not always fun. And, so I appreciate the people out there who are being leaders and understanding that, another one of my favorite, would I rather be right or would I rather be rich? I'd rather be rich. You can give anybody else the accolades. Just give me the check. So, and I just appreciate people who get that because, the great leaders in history, it's not about them, getting accolades. It's about helping others get what they want. Zig Ziglar, how do I get what I want? I help more people get what they want. And that's what being a team leader is about. And it's a thankless job at times. I had an agent on my team who had some deals fall apart. And he's like, man, it just kind of kicks my butt. And I said, yeah, I understand. But also understand that, when your deal falls apart, that means something to me. And by the way, the 17 other people who had deals fall out, I get all those too. And that's what happens. I mean, one of my coaching clients just texted me, we had 6 deals fall out this week. And so, maybe we need to work on what we're doing, why deals are falling out. But my point is that, as the team leader, you get all of that stuff. I had to call a guy who was pissed off at us earlier this week because we did something wrong. I got to call another guy because they tried to screw us out of commission. We get to come in, not when it's, bubble gums and lollipops. We get to come in when it's this guy screwed up or that guy screwed up. And, I got to be on the phone with the guy yesterday and say, sir, I'm very sorry. And our team didn't succeed. Well, you don't need to apologize. It's 100% my fault. My team,
Brian, my team comes to me and says, Heidi, I need you to call somebody. And I say, what's the matter? They say, I need you to schmooze them.
Yeah. And are you willing to do that?
Yeah, I'm a good schmoozer. And you know what else? I had a girl that was with me for about 4 years and her production was really good. And then she decided to go on her own. And when she left, she stayed at my firm. And I said, if you need any help, let me know. And she said, why would you want to help me if I'm not on your team anymore? I said, because I don't want you to leave my team and not be successful. It's a reflection on me.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I love that. So a couple of things that I keyed in on with what you guys were just saying. So Brian, in terms of giving others credit for things, I've always believed and I've heard that you can accomplish anything if you're willing to give somebody else credit for it. Right?
Absolutely.
Another great quote, and I believe this, I know Patton said it, but I believe that Napoleon was the first one to say it, and I could be wrong. But they said, it's amazing what a man will do for a piece of ribbon. And I share that because, Heidi, to your point, you've got to give the accolades. You've got to give people props where props are due. And it's amazing. People will walk on hot coals for you to get a little bit of approval from mom and dad, right? From the leader of the team, for example. People will go the extra mile to get that appreciation because guess what? They haven't gotten it in the other areas of their life, right? They got a spouse that nags them. They got parents that were always down on them. They got everybody else in their world that all they do is negative, 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 and they're criticism. And what they don't get is somebody saying, hey, great job, right? You did a great job on that. Congratulations. And so it's truly amazing what a person will do for a piece of ribbon. Of course, in the quote, what Patton and Napoleon were talking about is, people will go to war. They'll get shot at for a little piece of ribbon. It's crazy.
Well, and here's another thing that I think that people don't get, when you're talking about war, is people think that people go to war and fight and do the brave, heroic things they do for their country. That's not what they do it for. They do it for the guy to the right and to the guy to the left. Now, no one's going to die in real estate. That's not what we're talking about. But ultimately, I promise you, when you build that culture and you get the guy to your right and the woman to your left or wherever those things are, those people, if you get them working together and if you get them helping each other out, they will jump through hoops for each other because they're part of something. And, this is something I missed for years is that people want to be part of something. When I was in the military, you're part of something. I was a nuclear missile officer. I defended the country against the Russians in nuclear war. And, when you wake up every day and you do that for a living, it's like what you do matters and that you feel like it matters. I mean, you go and you do this thing that not a lot of people do and it feels like it matters. When you get in the real world, in the civilian world, you don't have that necessarily. But, when we build these teams and we build a culture and we build, they can have that, it's not defending the country, but it's helping people get to their goals and wants and needs. And there's value in that, and we can do it together. And I know that sounds all really corny and cheesy, but the truth of the matter is, together we're more powerful. And when we do it that way, it's just a better way to live. People, we are social creatures. Even the most introverted of us are social creatures.
Well, let's call it what it is. It's more fun to be on a team than it is to be the Lone Ranger. Who wants to have to go it alone? I want to know that I've got people on either side of me and behind me and in front of me helping me succeed in this world. I don't want to have to go and do it alone. It just seems so disappointing or dismal to have to go out and do it on my own. All right.
Well, it's not only that, it's life balance, because if you're out of town or you want to go on vacation, you don't have to ask an agent in your office who handles their business maybe differently than you to watch your business. You have your team.
That's right. That's right. And by the way, people think that only the team leader gets leverage. We talk about this a lot in Club Wealth. Everybody on the team gets to leverage, right? If you're a buyer's agent, you're leveraging everybody else on the team. You're leveraging the team leader as the person that's got to worry about all, the money and makes, when they have a month where they go backwards, guess what? They're the one writing a check for it, not you. You're leveraging the administrative team members because they're getting all this stuff done for you. You're leveraging the other agents on the team because, like you said, they can cover for you, all that good stuff. There's so many ways that we all get leverage by being part of a team. And I will tell you, and people that are on a team right now, if you're contemplating leaving your team, I want you to hear what I'm about to say. I can tell you that almost without exception, in the last 26 years or however long I've been at 27, I think, actually doing this business, I can tell you that almost every single person that I've ever seen leave a team has been less successful after leaving the team than they were when they were on the team. And they've done fewer transactions, and they've made less money net to them, less money when they left the team, and they had to work harder to get there than when they were on a team. So I share that with you because this retention thing, it doesn't just benefit the team leader. It benefits every single person on the team. Change is expensive. And so, all right, I want to get to some more nitty gritty here. And by the way, Megan Nelson was saying that she loves you, Heidi. Great job. She loves what you're sharing. Great info.
Thank you.
She's watching in the Club Wealth Facebook group. That being said, I want to get some nitty gritty. So you talked about a few things like the escape rooms and the social scavenger hunts and the awards. What are some other things? And this question's for both you and Brian. What are some other things that you guys either are doing or have considered doing to increase or to improve, I guess increase is not the right word, to improve the culture on your team?
To improve the culture on my team, it's a daily thing. I'm having to do better every day. And one thing that improves my culture is to offer tools to keep improving. And one thing that I'm really big on is, because I am on a team, I don't make all the decisions myself. So if I'm going to get, let's just say, I don't know, Vulcan 7 or Mojo or whatever, I don't just go out and get it. I talk to my team. I say, what do you think about this? And sometimes they want to go on and do a demo. We decide as a group. I'm paying for it, but we decide as a group. What good is it if I get something that they don't want to use? So I let them be involved in the decisions. And I just keep trying to enhance, the tools that I'm giving them.
Okay, Brian, how about you?
And what I hear with that is buy-in matters. That's what I hear when you say that, because I get accused of being the shiny object guy sometimes, and sometimes my team gets frustrated with me because we've tried every system in every different way, and it's frustrating. So I've stopped doing that. But we talk about these things now is, hey, what if we did this? And then I have a meeting about that and see how that meeting goes and see how the people do it. Because here's the thing, I can have the greatest script, I can have the greatest system. If nobody uses it, it's garbage. So, I love the fact that, you and I both do the same thing. It's like, hey, so I'd like to try this. How do you guys feel about it? So we're actually right now looking at, and this is from 7 Levels of Communication. So where they talk about doing big parties for the client after they buy a house. So the buyer goes and they buy a house, and you say about a week before closing, you say, hey, Mr. and Ms. Buyer, I just wanted to let you know that one of the big benefits that we like to do, or one of the things that we like to do for people, is throw you a party because you're buying a house and it's awesome and it's fun. And now we're not going to have it the day of closing, because my guess is you're going to be a little bit busy on the day of closing. But why don't you do this for me and start putting this list together, and I'll ask you for it again. But get me 20 people who you'd like to invite over to your house so that those people can come and actually, see your new house and do that. And just think, I'll do the work. I know that you're busy. I know that you're moving. It's one of the 5 most stressful things that people do. So I'll call them. I'll email them. I'll mail them. I'll take care of it all for you. We'll bring the food. Here's the thing. I'll spend 15 minutes there. It's not like I'm not going to spend 3 hours there trying to, talk to all your friends. I'm going to spend 15 minutes there. I'm going to bring the food. I'm going to shake some hands, and I'm going to get the heck out of your way. So, what's that going to cost me? A couple $100. And then I say at closing, you can ask for referrals at closing, and that does work, by the way. If you're going to ask for referrals, always ask for them at good times, right after the appraisal got approved, right after the home inspection got cleaned up, right at closing. Great time to ask for referrals. But hey, do you have the list of those people that you're going to send to your party, that you want me to invite to your party? That's a great list. Here's the thing. If you call 20 people and invite them to that party, you've just met 20 people. And guess what? If they work with you, they're smart enough to figure out, hey, I get the same deal. So, realistically, I heard Mike Cuevas says this: if a person knows probably 5 to 10 people who are moving every single year. So, there's an opportunity to do something like that really is a free, it costs a couple $100. You go buy barbecue for people, and it's a good time. So those are the types of things that I feel like can take it to the next level right now, because it's hard to get leads right now, especially on the sell side. The buy side's not hard, but it's hard. You get inventory shortage. So, hey, bring people over, and, maybe some want to sell a house.
Well, and that definitely helps team culture too, right? Because now you've got your team members show up, they get to experience that, they're happy, they're excited, and they become a part of, again, something bigger than them. So here's what I'm curious. How many of you that are watching right now would love to have a list of all the different things that you can do for your team in terms of, and for individual team members or for the team as a whole to improve culture and to kind of, give them an attaboy? If you're interested in a list like that, type in the list in your Facebook feed right now so that we can see if that's something that we should be doing. And that's Heidi. We're hearing your phone there. Andrew Promoter's like, yes, sir, I want it. Okay, so only one of you wants the list, so we're going to pass on the list. So I'm just kidding. If you guys want the list, I see we got a whole bunch of people watching right now. By the way, Mike Cuevas just joined us. Shout out to Mr. Cuevas and the king of a tractor.
I want to speak to about administrative people also, because it's not just the team members. I mean, we need these admin people that because without them, I'd be here all night. But I used to have a girl work for me about 8 years in my office. She's my assistant. And sometimes I would come into the office and I'd say, come on, we're going to go. We got to go look at paper or something. And we'd leave. And I'd take her to lunch. We'd get our nails done. She said, I thought we were going to look at paper. I said, that's just what we told them. Don't tell anybody. I'd take her to the movies, all that kind of stuff. And this makes people feel special.
Of course, I'd feel special too if you took me to go get my nails done. But seriously, that's awesome. And you guys, and Amy mentions, Coach Amy Izzo is watching, and she says, administrators are so important and often go unrecognized and or underappreciated. And Coach Amy, you are so right about that. You guys, do me a favor. Those of you that have some ideas that we could add to this list that we're going to get, those of you that have typed in you want the list, those of you that have some ideas, just type your ideas in right now. What are some things that you can do for an employee or for a team member to say, hey, I care about you, and I want you to feel appreciated, and I want you to know that we do truly appreciate what you do. And while you're typing those ideas in, Brian and Heidi, we talk a lot about the difference between management and leadership. And I want you guys to speak to this because I'm super passionate about this. And if there's one thing that frustrates me, it's team leaders that have the attitude of, hey, look, you work for me, therefore you're going to do what I tell you to do. And they treat their team members like employees, right? So talk about that. How do you avoid doing that? Do you talk when you talk about your team members? Do you say, and this is my employee, or this person works for me, or what are you doing to avoid management versus leadership, and what does it mean to you?
Well, I say that we work together. I don't say that they work for me, and they're not an employee, they're an independent contractor. So I got to be careful with that. But I do talk to them about us working together. And if there's something that needs to be addressed, I usually do a one-on-one, and in a nice way, diplomatically, because I don't want them to quit. They're my family. I don't want them to leave me, and they're not children, but I know everybody's personality on my team, and I know how they need to be spoken to. That's huge. You have to know them.
I think that's very important. I kind of make a joke that there's a couple people on my team who I could say, you suck, you are horrible, why haven't you done what you're supposed to do? And they'll go out and close 3 deals.
Right.
And I say that to the next person, and all of a sudden they're fetal.
Crying in the corner.
So understand your audience is what I heard you say there. I think it's really important that. So, the other thing about leadership, and you hear a lot about this, if you don't do this, I'm going to do this. Or if you do this, I'm going to do this. If that. That's not leadership. That's management. And what that is really just the problem with management more than anything else is management creates zero leverage. If I've got to literally log in every single day and look at every activity that you're doing and when you're doing it, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, I must do it myself. And that's an exaggeration, but the reality is you have to get to the why someone wants to do something. So when someone's on my team and they haven't closed transactions, we sit with them and go, hey, Bob, I don't have anybody named Bob on my team, but I go, hey, Bob, so, you were going to, we agreed you'd close a couple transactions a month, and you had these goals, and you were going to go on vacation, you were going to do all these things. So, last couple months, you haven't gotten there. What can I do to help? What kind of problems do you have? What kind of things are going on? And this hasn't specifically happened to me, but can you imagine you just hammering on somebody and you find out that their wife just left them? And that doesn't mean they're a bad agent. It means they had a really bad month. So, when we come from the assumption that the people didn't do something because they're lazy or stupid, that's what I see a lot of managers do. And, the other thing I would say is realistically, you can lead about 5, maybe 10 people at a time. You can manage more than that, but you can't lead more than that. And because leadership takes getting to know people, leadership takes caring about people, leadership takes empathy, the empathy that, remember one time that you screwed up? I remember when I screwed up about every day, but those are things that have become real important. So, create some leverage around other people on your team who can also be leaders. There are people who could go out and sell 25 houses for the next 25 years and be thrilled. And those people we want on our teams. There are other people who are leaders, and we need to get them to be fulfilled. We have to give them some of that responsibility, some of those opportunities. So understand, those people and talk to them. And, this is not a one-off thing. When I was very young, I had my own real estate company. I said, what I want is just to hire some people and give them a good split and never talk to them. And that's what I wanted. It sounded like a great deal to me. I'll give you a good split. You go make money and I'll never have to talk to you. Well, that model doesn't work in case anyone wants to try it, or it doesn't work because you won't find good people. And if you do, they won't stay with you because they don't think you care about them.
Because
and they're right.
On the team, it's not all about the money.
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, it's okay. So, and by the way, Brian, I 100% agree. Again, this circles back to things like that round table approach, right? We always tell people, like at Club Wealth, it's not, as a coaching company, we're not this dictatorship, right? It's not about one person's ideas. It's more like the Knights of the Round Table. You got all these really smart people contributing their best stuff to help make it stronger and to help everybody else in the family, in the group, right? And you got to treat your teams in the same way. If it's all about you, then guess what? Nobody feels fulfilled. Nobody wants to be a part of you. They want to be part of something bigger than you, bigger than any one of us. And so you've got to give them that. Now, Brian, you made a very good point. When I have great people, when I have leaders, and I want leaders, I want people on the team that are better than me. I want people on the team that are smarter than me, that are more aggressive than me, that are better at me, and all kinds of stuff. Those kind of people want bigger opportunity. So part of our job, part of the key for us as leaders is we have to open up more opportunity for the people on our team. Then they'll stay, right? If I'm expanding their circle of opportunity all the time, there's no reason for them to leave. But if their circle of opportunity is crimped down and all they get to do is this one thing for the rest of their life, some people might want to be a buyer's agent for the rest of their life and do those 25 deals. Great, we love you. We want you on our team. That being said, some people want more than that. They want opportunities to lead, to guide, to earn more, to do different things. Great, provide those opportunities for them and they'll stay because they have a reason to stay, and you've taken away the reason for them to leave. Think about this. Would I rather be a leader within my team and build a team within a team, so to speak, in a way that I've already got all this support and all the systems and tools and all the things around me that I know are there to help me that I already understand? Or would I rather go out on my own and try and create that all on my own? Dude, that sounds a lot like a steel wool enema, right? Like that doesn't sound fun at all. Yeah, Brian loves that analogy. Probably not my most. It's
eloquent, Michael. Very eloquent.
It's a little colorful.
Yeah, but it's painful, right? I mean, nobody wants to do that. Okay, so we got a lot of questions in the feed here that I want to get to real quick. And Coach Amy asked a great question. How do I expand? And I'm going to have you guys answer this. How do I expand team member opportunity when I'm not a broker owner? I'm a team leader.
Heidi?
Well, go ahead, Brian.
No, go ahead.
Okay. Well, within my team, I have one team member. Well, not just one, but he's a great buyer's agent, and he really goes the extra mile. And so what happened was when one day I overheard him on the telephone, and he told someone he was the team's sales manager. And so then when he hung up, I looked at him. He goes, "Well, I didn't know what else to say. It sounded pretty good." I said, "Okay, well then you can be that." So now he trains everybody that's new that comes to the team. He goes through paperwork, he mentors them, and I pay him to do that now. So he stays with me. That's part of retention. But also people love it that they have someone that can call. I just had a guy today tell me, he goes, "I had a question at 10 o'clock last night." He goes, "But don't worry, I called John." I was like, thank God, because I was sleeping, So that's one way I gave someone another opportunity. Another guy on my team, he, after looking at all his numbers, I saw, you're not really doing so many buyers, you're doing more listings. Let's really focus on that. So I started farming other neighborhoods for him. So I think that's important to them, and I think that gives them other opportunities.
Absolutely. So
Brian?
I have several leadership positions on my team. We've got someone who we're kind of training to be the sales manager. I've got someone who I'm training to be a recruiter. And then we actually have leadership. Some people call them pods and squads and teams, call them whatever you want. But basically, you've got somebody, I'm a brand new agent, or I'm an agent who's done less than 10 transactions. The reality is you've seen very little of real estate. I literally, I don't know how many transactions, it's close to 1,000 that I've been involved in, which, that's not really that many compared to a lot of agents around the country. But, that's a lot of exposure, and I still see stuff I've never seen before. So if you've only done 10 transactions, you've got a whole bunch of stuff that you haven't seen. What is that? I don't know, but it's coming. So, we have people who can talk to them about that. I actually have a broker on my team. In Arkansas, the way our contracts work, every single contract has to be brokered. And what that means is before it's finished, you can submit an offer without it being brokered, but the broker has to go over it and sign it. And so for a while, I was doing that. When you're doing that for 30 contracts a month, then you're being and you're going on listing appointments, and at the end of the day you run out of time. So I pay somebody now to do that, and that person's great and she loves it, and it gives her an opportunity to do something else besides be a buyer's agent, because she's also a buyer's agent on our team. So those are opportunities that you can give people that makes them feel better. And here's the thing, I'm not interested in training how to write a contract, but Dina takes care of it for us. So, and she gets paid for it and she gets benefit for it. So those are things that, really create a win-win, because I don't want to do it, and I give somebody else more responsibility, and, people look up to her. Dina, she's a broker. She knows stuff, and she does, and she's excellent. So, those are the kind of things that you can help people, and, just give them opportunities. I also, on my team, if you recruit somebody, we pay you an override on their first 3 transactions. So you can go out and recruit people if that's something that you want to do. So there's plenty of ways to help people. And, I've seen people have mentors. We don't do it on our team, but I've seen people have mentors. Okay, for the first 5 deals, you've got a mentor. And that person's going to get a percentage of your commission. But the truth of the matter is they earned it, because let's face it, the first 5 transactions that you do, you don't know what the heck you're doing. So anyway, those are some ideas that work for us.
I love that. Those are all great ideas. Now let's talk for a moment about, I've got a rock star on my team. I've got somebody who's really killing it, and this person is totally capable of going out and starting their own team and blah, blah, blah. How do I retain that guy? Well, I'll tell you this, or a girl, right? Whoever it is, woman, man, doesn't matter. But how do I retain that person? I'll tell you, first and foremost, you've got to expand their circle of opportunity, right? So I've got to give them that ability to build a team within the team. So I want to help them recruit people to the team. I want to help them retain the people that are on their part of the team. I want to help them lead those people. I want to give them all the back end support. And then I also want to, because at some point, maybe I outgrow my local market. If I'm in a small market like a Bentonville, Arkansas, for example, right? And there's only 40 transactions a year to be had there. I'm kidding, Brian.
42.
42, exactly. Isn't that the secret to life, or the answer to life, the universe, and everything? I'm sorry.
Sure.
That's my inner geek coming out. That's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Anyway, that being said, what I need to do is I need to make sure that they understand that, hey, the goal is long term. As we grow, we're going to eventually grow into other markets. And as we grow into other markets, we're going to need more levels of leadership, and we're going to need more people in place, because to Brian's point, I don't want to have more than 5 people reporting to me if I can help it. Now, there will be times I'll swell up and I'll have 8 or 10 people reporting to me. But as we grow and as more leadership, as more leaders present themselves, now we're gonna put those people under those leaders, and I again can shrink back down to my 4 or 5 people that report to me. So it really matters, you guys. You've got to understand that there's no cap on this, right? I don't stop at 9 or 10 or 15 or 20 people on my team. I could have 1,000 people on my team in 10 years. I mean, it literally, you have to think bigger about this. And if you don't think bigger, we'll put it this way, if the people on your team are thinking bigger than you, you have a problem. That's going to create a retention problem. You have to think bigger than the people on your team. You have to have a vision that's bigger than anybody can even fathom. And then you have to help them buy into the vision, right? But you've got to start off by having it. All right. So there's some more great comments in here. I want to just jump on a couple of these. Melissa Forsyth talks about, now she's doing an agent of the month, and it's not just based on production. It's also based on other factors as well. Maybe you were super helpful. Maybe you took great care of a client. How are you doing that, Heidi?
Well, I'm not doing agent of the month, but I like that. I think I'm gonna start that, because I was trying to think, how can I reward them every month? And I don't want to do it just on production, because it would be the same person.
Yeah. Right. And we're working on a point system right now. I don't have exactly worked out, but you get X number of points for a phone call. You get X number of points for a conversation. You get X number of points for an appointment, X number of points for a closing. So I think what's great about that is, a new person could be agent of the month if they just said, you know what, I'm going to call 100 people a day, and do that, because honestly, we've got those leads. We have a pond, and people can call out of those. You can anybody on my team who's not succeeding, it's not because they don't have plenty of people they can call, because we have those. Right. We're going to give them points for doing an open house. We're giving them points for doing things that are activities that lead to the results. And I'm not, and you guys both know I'm a results-oriented person, not an activity-oriented person, but you're going to have to do an activity to get to a result. So I want to focus on that result, but I've got to do things to get there. So those are some of the things that we're looking at.
So go ahead, Heidi.
I was just saying, one big thing I think is that I give my team a lot of freedom. You're talking about management or leadership. I'm not micromanaging them. Like, what are you doing? They do kind of whatever they want to do, but they know what they can and can't do. So, I don't look at everything they do and approve it. We're a group. Combined, everything has a great outcome. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. But now, that being said, we have to get the outcome for the team member as well, right? Because if we don't, then they can't afford to stay with us. And that becomes another problem. Now, that being said, as we do this, as we look for ways to encourage and to support, I want to avoid participation medals, right? Like I'm not a participation trophy kind of guy. Yeah, and I agree. I know, Brian, you're not either. But so we want to make sure that people understand. Hey, look, I want to achieve this, and I want that the recognition that comes along with having achieved that. And in order for me to want that, it actually has to mean something, right? If everybody's getting recognition, then it doesn't mean anything to be the top agent on the team. It doesn't mean anything to be the agent of the month, or it doesn't, so I've got to make sure there's meaning attached to it. Now, Michelle Berquist, love you to death. Michelle runs our Tier 1 daily huddles. She's watching right now and participating. And Michelle, you talked about growing a team is hard. For me, it's harder than lead gen and lead conversion. And by the way, you need to get that other buyer's agent, because we want you to be a coach one of these days soon here, Michelle. So you got to get those buyer's agents on your team. We love you. Now, that being said, it is hard, but you got to treat recruiting just like you treat lead generation. If you're serious about growing a team, recruiting has to be a part of your perfect daily schedule. So you guys, I want everybody watching this to remember, and I'm hearing a lot, or I'm seeing a lot of comments about this. How do you keep that balance of growing your team and still selling homes and making money? Brian talks all the time about, you got to remember to sell homes. Right?
But you know what I've been learning now with Brian as my coach? And Brian, I don't think we've had this conversation, but I'm starting to see my role is changing now. I mean, I'm starting my recruiting, but I'm slower. I'm slower to bring people on than I think, some of the other coaching clients or whatever, but I'm a little bit slower. But I already feel my role changing. And at first I was feeling a little guilty that I wasn't, killing it on listing appointments. And then I started thinking, but my team is coming to me saying, I can't handle all the phone calls. We're getting too many leads. And that's as a result of my role changing. So that's okay.
I did the same thing. And by the way, for all the people out there who don't know this, I go on listing appointments to this day. I don't.
Not because you have to, but because you choose to.
I choose to, and I choose to because I never want to wake up again. And I have woken up and went, oh crap, we lost money last month. Right. And it's opportunities, and I'm more selective now. But the truth of the matter is that's not my main role anymore. 3 years ago, I was the listing agent on my team, and that was my job, to get listings so that we could leverage them, get buyers. That was 100% my job. But the truth of the matter is, if I was getting as many listings now, or going on as many listings appointments as I did 3 years ago, I wouldn't have time to run my team. So it is an opportunity, and it's a challenge. I mean, it's one of those things that you have to decide. And, it's great that I can go and, just like you, I can find ways to lead generate for the people on my team. And a listing agent on my team, when I go, hey, go call this guy, I think he wants to list his house. That's nice, because they just called 27 expireds who told them to go to hell, and now they've got somebody who's going to do that. So it makes it worth it to call those 27 expireds, because now I know that when a good lead comes in, I'm going to get that opportunity. And it's not about being lazy and just taking the low-hanging fruit. It's just, hey, every once in a while I get a reward because I've been working my butt off, because I'm not going to give that to somebody who isn't working. If you're not working, you're not getting this guy who, I sold a house to 3 years ago. So.
And there's nothing wrong with, as an example, cherry picking leads, right? As the team leader, I'm going to cherry pick leads once in a while, and I'm going to show by example, especially if I'm in one of those phases where my team is in a rut or whatever. I'm going to show by example, hey, watch me get on the phone, right? I'm going to go set some appointments. Watch how I do it. And then I'm going to actually do it. And then I'm going to say, okay, now watch me go out and list these houses. Let me show you how I'm going to do that. And, leading by example, people don't realize how important that really is. When people can see that you know what you're doing and that you really are a baller, right? That you really are going to go out there and you're going to get the deal done. Well, they appreciate that and they want to learn from you. It's like having a coach that's never sold real estate before. Why would you do that? Like, it makes no sense to me. Why in the world would you ever have, like, if I want to get to the top of Mount Everest, I need a guide that's been to the top of Mount Everest before. It doesn't make any sense to have a guide that's never been there before. That's why at Club Wealth, for example, every one of our coaches outproduces the people they coach for that very reason, because they know how to get where you want to go. All right, we're out of time.
I want to be like Brian when I grow up.
Exactly. Me too. By the way, I do too. So that being said, we are out of time. I'm going to come back to you guys in just a second and get your final thoughts. I want to get your biggest takeaways from today. I love it. All these people that have been watching and have been participating and all the comments. Thank you guys so much for that. What I would love to have you guys do, everybody that's watching right now, everybody that's on with us now, I want you to type in, how many people are you going to have on your team, total people on your team, in the next 60 days? Just type a number in. I don't care what it is. It could be one if it's just you, right? But how many people are you going to have on your team in the next 60 days? Type that number in. I want to see it. And while you're doing that, I want to remind you guys, for those of you that need help recruiting, reach out to WiseHire. It's I believe our link is wisehire.com/Club Wealth. And let me tell you something. Those guys do a great job. They can absolutely help you with your recruiting, whether it's for administrative team members or agents. They do a great job, and they're very affordable. That being said, excuse me, don't forget, if you have not already done so, get registered for Listing Agent Bootcamp in May. This is May 8, 9, and 10. You'll see Heidi there. You'll see Brian there. And you'll see all the Club Wealth coaches and a ton of really, really smart people that are going to be there to help you grow your business. I'm telling you, this is an event unlike any you've attended before. And we've added more mastermind time into this event as well. So make sure that you guys are there for that. The website for that is www.clubwealth.com/LABC. So go ahead and get signed up for that. All right, that being said, final thoughts. We're going to start with Heidi, then go to Brian, then me. Heidi, what's your parting thought as we leave today?
You can't do it all. You can't wear all the hats. You're not good at everything. So having other people on your team, or doing your real estate with other people, can only benefit you. And having a good culture will lead you to success, because you'll have referrals. People will come back to you. But if you have a lot of turnover, you're going to lose those referrals. So you got to be good to your people. You got to take the high road, even if sometimes you don't really want to do it. Sometimes you just have to. You have to take the hit. And I don't mean financially. I just mean you got to do the right thing no matter what. And people will appreciate that, and they'll want to work for you. They want to be with people like that. Honest, integrity.
Yep. I agree. Brian, final takeaway.
So my final takeaway is leadership is not about getting the accolades and the rewards. It's about the opportunity and the intrinsic stuff that comes from, the ability to see other people succeed, the ability to know that you've influenced people's lives in a positive way. And, that's what makes me go. And I really, I get reminded of that when I talk to people like Heidi, because she does the same thing. She's about helping the other people on her team. And I love that. And, if you're going to be a team leader, it's not, the job position is not team manager, it's team leader. Mm-hmm. So, keep that in mind. And if you love that, do it. And it's fun. Thanks.
I love it. All right. So my final takeaway for today is 2 words. I can sum up what I believe is the heart of today in 2 words. Be humble. Mm-hmm. I tell you what, you guys, be humble. Work your tail. Work like it all depends on you. Give everybody else all the credit when things go right. Take responsibility when things don't, and appreciate where you came from and who helped you get there. Mm-hmm. Remember them, honor them, and continue to be humble, and you'll have a great long-term career where you'll be able to help a lot of people along the way. So that being said, thank you again, Heidi, Hines, Coach Brian Curtis. Appreciate you guys being on today. This has been a great Club Wealth TV episode. We'll look forward to seeing you guys next time. Remember, inside each one of you, there's a world-class beast just dying to get out. But you got to choose to unleash that beast. So go do something at a world-class level today. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.